There we go. Okay, that should be good. We're just going to check some things in the back end here to see if I've done this correctly. I bet you I haven't. Yeah, I have not. Awesome. I have already screwed this up. Wouldn't be a stream with me if I didn't mess something up in advance. And now I've got double audio going on. Of course I do. Because I'm a smart cookie. Okay. Well, let's adjust the camera just a little bit. Get closer to... That's about where I need you. Aha. Okay. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and get started here. Move all my night bits over there. Let's clean up my desk since I didn't set up the stream correctly. There we go. So, got plans to go ahead and get some basing work done so I can get the feet of my Knight Defender finished. Alright. Awesome, because I am a smart man. There we go. Okay, so first up on the docket today is to work on some basing stuff for the Defender. I am actually super close to being finished with that, which is very exciting. And then I gotta work on some basing for some other knights today. So let's get some corkboard over here. Okay. Got my plastic rod. There we go. Get to my castigator box open here, since I took all of my utensils with me out to the lake. That was actually a lot of fun to do, I'm not going to lie. St. Patrick's Day was a good celebration for me this weekend, or last weekend. Semantics. Normally I would have had this all set up. I was experimenting with stuff. I forgot I had a boomer moment, and so I apologize. This must be riveting content to pay attention to. Alright. Got that there. So, today it's time to actually start working on getting the feet for my Knight Defender finished. Now, the biggest problem with the project was the way that I set up the legs to work here. I was kind of envisioning a foot planted on a large rock, which means I'd have to repose a lot of the toes, and unfortunately that's going to require me having the rock already here on the base. But I think it'll look pretty good. So, first things first, let's give myself a proper workspace here. I've already kind of caged myself in here. I need to get my knife, which I think... There we go. Now for the most dangerous part of this whole ordeal, I have to go ahead and get a fresh blade. And the last time I did this, I managed to slice my thumb open because I forgot how sharp these things are when they come right out of the package. There we go. Okay. And of course, we'll deal with that probably tomorrow. Okie dokie. So, first order of business. Realize how badly I've messed up and gonna have to work around that little headache. Because of course I will. Oh well. It wouldn't be a build with me unless I mess something up horribly. Let me just bump my microphone there. Actually, let's go ahead and get this adjusted real quick. There we go. That should be a little bit better. Come on. There we go. Why this particular blade handle has to be so darn finicky, I don't understand. I never have this problem with any of my other ones, but this one, for whatever reason... There we go. Let me check something here. Make sure I'm doing this right. Okay. Okay, yeah, it's broadcasting just fine. I just don't know how loud I'm being. Oh well, it's not that big of a deal. Now, first things first when it comes to this foot. So the problem that I've done here, that I'm only realizing now that I've managed to mess up, is I have glued the shin armor onto the knight. The problem is I don't have these reinforced pistons to go on either side of the foot, so I'm going to have to fix that problem. I think I have a solution to this issue that's going to be relatively easy to overcome, but we shall see. We shall see. No, it's this way. Other way around, yeah. There we go. Okay. Trim these up here. Trim up those sprue gates just a little bit. I'm bumping my camera stand, which is causing this to shake, so I'm just going to have to scoot this just a little bit. Sorry about that, if that was a little disorienting or nauseatingly inducing. So, just trying to make sure I'm not bumping it too much. Changed up quite a bit of the game room, so I had to set up It was a little bit more open. I'm not sharing my computer desk as much, so I should be able to adjust pretty easily. I'm just trying to avoid too much overlap over there. It's not a big space to work with, and I've already spilled a little bit of my sprue glue and other things on the computer desk, which is a really nice desk. I hate to do that. Alright, let's get these pistons on there, see if I can fix this problem before it gets too bad. Goodness gracious, Chubby, are you okay? Okie dokie, buddy. Okie dokie. Now, on parts like these, I kind of understand a little bit because they're long and kind of straight. So you can pretty easily come in here and clear out these mold lines. But I just don't know how much of an actual issue it is to do that. Like, do I really need to focus the time or the energy to get rid of them on these parts? They're not going to be very prominently displayed. They're going to be kind of hidden away, so I don't know that it necessarily matters that much. Yeah, it's going to be an issue. Could I, in theory, I might be able to actually work this loose. Ha ha! Kind of. That kind of worked, believe it or not. Okay. It's going to take a little bit of extra work to get that fixed, but it's not that much to do. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is drop my piece of plastic. My main goal here is to find the major points of contact, which seems relatively explanatory. But if I can glue the ankle joint down to the base of the foot here, it has the most contact. I've managed to glue these pistons in before and get pretty good connection with it. But I have used a lot of sprue glue to make that happen. Now, am I getting that other third piston in? Got a lot of light coming in from the window there. That's... Oh, I'm going to bump the camera again. Damn it. Okay. There we are. Okay. Now let's get that longer piston in here. Cut this on camera. There we go. Like I said, these mold lines are not the biggest pain in the ass to remove. They're relatively easy. Get a long straight part, And I'll do it just out of habit, but I'm going to be honest, I just don't know how much it's necessary, considering this part isn't the most prominently displayed thing on the model. But just for the sake of practice, I'll do that. I'll also carve away that sprue gate just a little bit. I'm going to cut that top down just a little bit. Well, I hope everyone had a good St. Patrick's Day. It was a lot of fun. I hope everyone was at least somewhat responsible on their St. Patrick's Day. Always do this thing with my family every year. We go out to Lake Hefner and on Saturday, usually before, and we cook for the Oklahoma City Boat Club and make a pretty good amount of corned beef and cabbage. I think it's 80, 85 pounds, something like that. And it's always a blast. I've done it now. This is my 21st year in a row of doing it. I thoroughly enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. I get to spend some time with my grandfather, drink, play darts, boil some corned beef, cabbage, make some baked potatoes. In the last few years, I've managed to bring my two best friends with me in the whole world, and it is just a blast. My wife actually came with me this last year and spent the whole day with me, which was so much fun. I got to introduce her to all of my nerdy customs out there, so it was a lot of fun. And we always do it as a big fundraiser. It's a fundraising event for all of the Oklahoma City Boat Club programs they do. They're fundraising for their big splash day regattas. It's a lot of fun, I have to say. And I don't know how many more years I get to do that with my grandfather, but I wouldn't miss that day for the world. Truly and honestly, he is one of the best people I know. I love my grandfather to death, and I will cherish the memories of going out to that boat club and hanging out with him every day of my life. It is honestly one of the greatest privileges I can say, and I'm so glad that I get to spend that time with family. So I hope you out there celebrating St. Patrick's Day with your family, if you're out there, I hope you have as much joy and happiness as I do. Because not very many people get those kind of happy holidays anymore these days. And it's, I truly consider myself like one of the luckiest people in the world. There we go. Got that re-glued back on. All that's left on that leg is knee pad armor. Now, I'm going to let that dry for just a second. I'll have to get the other foot cut off, and that's going to be the fun one, because I'm going to have to build a rock to go on the base. And the rock is going to be made out of corkboard, which is usually a pretty messy material, but once I get that done, all I'm going to do is cut the toes off and then repose them on the base of the foot. Which, I've gotten some experience with now. I've managed to do it pretty easily. It'll take about 24 hours for the feet to fully set, but once it's done, I promise you the effect is just fantastic. There we go. Hey! Final, what's going on, man? Am I too loud at all? Am I actually doing just fine? I can't quite tell. I had to turn the voice down in my ear, which is half the problem we were dealing with. I think that's looking pretty good. All right. Ah, good. Very good. True test. Am I going to blow some ears out with this? I hope not. So, man, How was your St. Patrick's Day? Did you have a good time? I hope so. Let's do some mapping here. How big do I want this rock to be? Gonna need it to be pretty big. Aw, son of a monkey. Dang it. Well, I'm glad it was a good time, man. I did about the same. I was just telling, well, the ether at this point. Every year, I do this thing with my grandfather. We go out to a place called Lake Hefner out here in Oklahoma. And I assume you're not from Oklahoma. Most people aren't that I meet on the internet. We go out to Lake Hefner every year, and we boil, what is it? I think 85 pounds of brisket cut corned beef, about the same amount of cabbage, and about the same amount in baked potatoes. We do this big fundraiser dinner for the Oklahoma City Boat Club out here. And I think this will do math here. But this was the 21st year in a row I've done it with my grandfather. And so it's a big blast. I love doing it. It's so much fun. I did not drink as much this year as I've done in previous years. I had to deal with a nasty hangover last year. I ended up drinking way too much, and I learned my lesson on that one. So, but it was a good time. I brought me out. I had JD from Sprue to Saga out, our buddy Edward, my wife, Josh's wife, and we just spent the day playing Gwent, building Warhammer, drinking, playing darts, and cooking a lot of corned beef and cabbage, which is one of the biggest dinners that the Oklahoma City Boat Club does every single year, and it's such a blast. Genuinely, I feel super lucky to be able to do that with my grandfather every year. Okay. Does that fit better? Kind of fits better. It is honestly some of the most fun. I've, turned 32 this year. I've done it since I was 11. It is one of the most enjoyable things I get to do. And now that I'm legally able to drink, my grandfather shares some really fancy Irish whiskey with me every year. There's a brand, I kid you not, called Feckin' Irish Whiskey. And it is actually really good. He always buys a bottle of that, or Bushmills, or I'm gonna hit the microphone, or something like that, and we all share a glass. And the joke is, the secret sauce is to get sauced when making the corned beef and cabbage. But checking out your reels, I haven't commented much. I've just been really busy with my wife and all. But how about that Commissar Yark coming back? I knew he wasn't dead. Oh, man, let me tell you. I'm so glad he's back. I've seen so many memes of Gaz Cool Thraka. It's like, you're just as beautiful as the day I lost you. And it's just Commissar Yark going, I hate you so much. Just gonna tear a piece here just along the side there. I can't wait. Definitely day one pre-order for... Oh, dude, absolutely. If I had the money for it, man, I tell you, I would. Speaking of money, though, my wife is letting me buy some models. I had a choice. And I was like, I could buy another knight, which I was very tempted to do. Oh no, my super glue's clogged. Looks like it's time for me to bust out. Power drill. my wife was gonna let me buy a model, and I was like, oh, I could get another knight, and I was like, well, there's a game I've been looking at that looks like a lot of fun. That's called Blackout. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but I can get the 2-player starter set for me and Josh for $120 plus an expansion set of fighting force in there for another $50. The price of one night. I get to play a whole new game to fill my time while I'm building my army up. So I'm very interested in that. No, it's this way, definitely. Is it a board game? I think the only one I'm familiar with is COD. So Blackout is a tabletop war game. It's made by a bunch of veterans who love sci-fi, and they wanted a more tactical, very quick one-shot kill kind of game. And they couldn't find anything that they wanted in the existing war games, so they went and made their own. And if you purchase a set from them, it actually goes, they donate quite a bit to charity to help, I'm going to bump my camera, to help prevent veteran suicide, which is really exciting. So, it is a, ooh, ow, that's hot, a squad-based war game. Damn it, cat, leave it alone. Sorry. It is a squad-based game, so you buy like a 6, 7, 8-man squad depending on the army that you pick, and each individual model acts like its own unit, like in Warhammer. So instead of having a massive army, you have like one squad that's like super tactical, very quick time to kill, and it's all centered around movement. So you can take certain actions that just cut down on your movement. Which looks really interesting. The selling point is you can get in a game and finish it in about 30 minutes. And the way it works is it's not the kind of war game where you get in and like you know you're going to lose in the first 30 minutes like you do in Warhammer, and you just got to play out the game. Instead, I just spilled a bunch of super glue on my... Never mind, that's fine. Instead, it's very like give and take, push and pull kind of a system where you don't really know who's going to win until the last turn's been played, which looks very, very interesting. I've watched a few battle reports on it. It looks like a lot of fun, very quick, very simple, fluid kind of gameplay. And I'm getting that 2-player starter set, so Josh and I have something to do while we're waiting on getting our armies finished. And well, I guess the name of the channel kind of says it all. Oh, shit. I don't know if it's coming through on camera. Oh, yeah, it is coming through on camera. Look at that. Whew. That burns. That's hot. You're not wrong. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. It looks like a very interesting game. And I can't help it. When I get into a game like this, I have to look at the lore. I have to look at it from a lore perspective and see what I think. I guess I wanted that piece glued there. That glue is still setting. So when I do that, I have to research what the faction I like and the lore and everything like that. And I've picked a faction, and I decided, well, if I'm going to get into this for pretty cheap for the price of one night, I can get pretty much all of the units from a single army and just lean into that. So I've picked what I want, and I've picked out my paint scheme for the army I want to do, and I'm looking forward to getting the models. They look really nice too. If you've not looked them up, you should. It's Blackout, Blkout. Really cool little game, I have to admit. How tall does this need to be? I could easily... Oh yeah, it looks awesome. And the fact that they're so cheap, I mean, I don't know if it's just... There's a video that's gone around of a guy who says that Warhammer's just ruined his sense of scale because he looks at a normal like scale miniature for bolt action, I think it was. And he's like, this it only fits like one or two guys. One soldier stands up over the turret. And then he looks at pictures of the actual tank. He's like, oh no. No, Warhammer's just ruined me for sense of scale. I think Warhammer's just ruined me for sense of price. I don't know if $60 to get basically an entire army, or if you want to get the expansion for the army, it's just another $50 on top of that. So $110 for all of the models you need. That sounds like a steal. I don't know if I've got a messed up sense of economic scale on what models cost or what, but I've got something going on. Man, okay. I don't know if you're a lore guy at Not at all when you look at that stuff, but I tried reading the timeline, and I like to think of myself as a pretty smart. You know, I could take dry stuff and find something interesting. That timeline was a tough read for me, and I don't know why. Holy crap! It was like the world's worst wiki article for me that didn't have any context for any of the information I was looking at. So if you get in that way, I wish you luck. You can tell me what's going on in the universe, but I just think they're neat. Okay, drop that there. Maybe I could flip that around. No, I'm just going to trim that down. By the way, I'm going to admit something completely embarrassing to you. I don't know if this is a judgment on you as a person at all. I don't think so, so don't take it that way. Oh, Jeff Cheetuff, he has definitely ruined my sense of price. Yeah, I'm telling you, if I'm looking at a model, I'm like, ooh, it's less than $90? That's a steal. I don't know if that's a good thing. But yeah, I don't know if this is a judgment on you at all, so don't take it this way. Based on your odd hours of uploading and when you're active, like when you sent me a message on Instagram, I'm not going to lie, I keep seeing all of those games. I'm like, oh, only $200. Dude, I'm telling you, GW has ruined me. I was even looking at Conflict 47, and I was like, I can get a squad of 3 mechs for the price of one night? God damn. Genuinely, it was a shock when I heard your voice for the first time. I was like, oh my god, this guy's not completely and utterly British. It's just assumed, and you're messaging me at 3 o'clock in the morning for me. So, oops. Come on, there we go. Kind of. Yeah, I'm on the East Coast. I'm just really bad at keeping a sleep schedule. Brother, I understand. I understand. I live in Oklahoma. You want to hear? Here's a semi-funny story. So I live in Oklahoma, and I worked as a caterer for a long time, and so I worked for movie shoots, and then I worked as a caterer in Norman, Oklahoma, which is where the Oklahoma University is, and so a lot of college town stuff. So I was used to having weird sleep schedules and whatnot. I got fired from my job in Norman. Owner was kind of a what's the polite way of saying this? Not a nice woman. She had a thing against my boss, who admittedly was lazy and doing lazy things because he could. And kind of just a lot of that work fell back on me, which unfortunate. The immediately thereafter, I get a job. Thank you. I get a job working for a hotel, and I was working late shift. So I'd get up in, I don't know, to go to work. I'd have to be there by like noon, 1 o'clock, depending on the day. It was different depending on the day of the week. And I would be there until like 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, depending on the day of the week. Like Sundays we closed early, so I'd be home by like 12:30. And at the time I was living with my folks. They helped me move in and got me through culinary school and helped me pay for all that stuff, which I'm eternally grateful for. Not a great way to meet women when you have to take them to your parents' house. But I went from working overnights. So I was working from getting off at like 1, 2, 3 o'clock, depending on the day of the week, and going home, staying up late. I'd be up so late that Crunchyroll would release the new episode of One Piece, and I'm there watching it live in Oklahoma, which is the weirdest feeling for me because, like, again, it doesn't release till like 2 o'clock in the morning. And I'd get up again about maybe 10:30, 11 o'clock, sleep through most of it, not see my family because they're all gone by the time I get up, and then I leave, go to work, come home, they're already asleep. So I'm like usually up late eating dinner, drinking some beer, whatever have you. Immediately got a job working for Oklahoma County, and immediately started working the morning shift. So in 1 week, I had to go from going to bed at 3 o'clock in the morning, maybe getting up at 11 o'clock, to I'm getting my butt up at 4:30 in the morning to make it to work on. There was the first day I worked, I didn't even go to sleep. I literally quit working at the hotel, went home, drank a cup of coffee, went to my new job, and worked till 1:30 in the afternoon, and then went home. Oh, it was awful. I hated that, changing my sleep schedule. So now I have to get into bed by like 8:30, which is the weirdest feeling for me. And everyone makes fun of me for being an old man, but you have to do what you have to do. Oh, yeah, dude, it was rough. It was so rough. But I've got a really good job. I've got really good insurance. I didn't know this. Oklahoma County has one of the lowest retiring ages in the country. Apparently, to get retirement and maintain your retirement benefits, all you have to do is have your age plus your years of service equal 60. So I got hired at 30, and if I work there for 15 years, by 45, I can retire with full benefits and keep my insurance. And my wife's had a lot of medical issues, which is half the reason I haven't made any proper videos yet on the channel, or made any shorts in a while. And we haven't had to pay a dime to a doctor because of the insurance with Oklahoma County. We have a Connect Benefits, which lets us call them as long as we're going to a Connect Benefit doctor. Connect Benefits pays for the whole thing, and it's really nice. I cannot ever quit that job because I need the insurance, so I got to make it to 45. But man, I tell you, it is a blessing. I love that job. I don't care what crap they have to put me through. I'm going to keep that job for life. It is a wonderful job. Yep, there's the fire again. Don't know if that's being picked up on camera. Damn, are they dude, always. Always. They're hiring in every position possible. I work in corrections, technically. I work in the kitchens at the Juvenile Detention Center. And let me tell you, they burn through DOs to sit in the rooms with the kids like nothing I've ever seen. Highest turnover rate possible. But the problem is the kids are ruthless, man. And I couldn't work in there, not because I couldn't handle them, making fun of me or mocking me. No, I'd get in trouble for laughing too much. I've heard them say some nasty stuff to me, and I busted out laughing, and I almost got in trouble because apparently you're not supposed to encourage the kids to, you're not supposed to encourage the kids to make comments like that, which is a shame because I walked out. I'm a big guy, right? And I'm losing weight. Since I've started posting content and everything, I've had to make some serious changes. for my health because I managed to make myself diabetic, unfortunately, but I'm in remission, which is a wonderful thing. So I've had to change my diet and everything. I've lost 50 pounds, and so I left the kitchen one day, and I heard one of these kids goes, "Damn, no wonder we ain't getting so much food. That dude be eating it all," and I lost it, dude. I freaking lost it. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm working on it. Still gonna get there. I'm hopefully my goal is to get down to 220. I've got a lot more to go, but I'm working on changing my life around. I've got a new superpower, which is if I don't wear a belt, I can't keep my pants up, which is honestly one of the best feelings in the world to have. Because now I have to go find smaller clothes, and it's been years since I've had to do that. So, all right, let's check this out. How tall is this rock getting? It's actually pretty damn close. I could probably do about 3 more layers, getting smaller on the top there, and then I could position the feet the way I want on that rock, and I think that would look good. But yeah, I'm working on losing as much weight as I can for health reasons. I mean, honestly, it's weird to say that because I feel like I'm admitting defeat because I did nothing but to myself. Got myself in the position of diabetes. But as weird as it sounds, it may be the best possible thing for me because now that the choice has been removed from me, I feel like I can stick to it a lot more easily. There's no going back now, Obviously, like, it still sucks that I put myself in that position and I don't have the strength and willpower to prevent that from happening beforehand. But it really has been a bit of a blessing in that regard because, honestly, man, at the way I was going, I would fluctuate. I'd go through periods where I was like, oh, I need to really buckle down, but I just never stuck with it. And now that I'm at this point, I can confidently say I don't think I'm going to eat myself into an early grave, which is a wonderful feeling. It really, really is. I just hope, people on the internet can be cruel when it comes to people who are overweight like me. And I've received none of that hate, but I know a lot of people have, where they just people mock them for dieting or whatever have you, for being overweight like that. And I just hope if there's anyone out there who has the similar situation to me, you can turn it around. It's not easy, but you can turn it around. And I just have to be mindful, man. That's really what it comes down to. My wife and I eat a lot more healthily than we had been before. One of my favorite things in the world is I make what I call a hamburger salad. Long running joke in my family, hamburger is my favorite food group. I love hamburgers. And we go to Sam's Club now, and we buy the big 10-pound tube of 93.7 hamburger meat. So super lean. And I'll just fry that up in a skillet with very little oil and season it with salt and pepper and all that, and make on a salad. Tomatoes, lettuce, onions, pickles, maybe a little shredded cheese, and then I'll make a homemade burger sauce that's super low fat. Because my problem was never what I was eating; it was always how much I was eating. That was my biggest problem. Is I just didn't have any control when it came to portion size. I don't know why I'm talking about this, waxing philosophic about my weight loss journey on the internet. Could probably fit that right there. And then we could glue that piece right there. It's all part of the journey. You're not wrong, man. I am stoked, really stoked. Here in about a week, I'm going to be trying to work on my Porphyrion, and I'm going to have to wash the parts, which I won't be able to do on camera. I don't have a proper camera right now. My phone's my camera. I'm actually going to be getting a webcam that I'll be able to use. Pretty good quality. I wouldn't say like high definition, but definitely not a low def webcam. And I will be using that to record instead of my phone, which would be nice. And then I'm going to be doing the building here on stream. I'm going to have to adjust the camera angle. Maybe get 2 or 3 different webcams at some point to do it. But I'm really looking forward to building that. I think it'll be really nice, really awesome to do. And I can't wait to show everybody what it's... Oh, yeah, that's going to look nice. Just a rock like that. Let me see here. As I try not to burn my fingertips off with the smoking corkboard. But yeah, that'd look good. Have the toes positioned on the rock like he's using it. Ah, yeah. Vision's coming together now, boys. Hell yeah. Okay. Time I log into Instagram, I see Warhammer people talking about their fitness journeys. It's pretty inspiring. Yes. I actually follow quite a few people who do that, who talk about weight loss journeys and everything. I also, part of that's, they also talk about food recipes, and I'm not going to lie to you, I am a bit of a food nerd. So... Listen, you ever make your way to the central part of the United States, let me tell you, I will make you a killer spaghetti bolognese. I may not be Italian, but I'm vicariously Italian. I might be very careful not to just slice through my finger here. So the problem with the super glue here, and it's the only thing that annoys me, is it's causing the separation here in the cork to get more pronounced. I think I could use that to my advantage, though. Get some texture paste, maybe some milliput, and fill in the major cracks here. But I think we'll have a pretty good looking rock at the end of the day. Trying not to shake the camera, but unfortunately it looks like the cat has bumped it back into the table, so I do apologize. Oh well. Okay, good. I know I'm shaking it a little bit in OBS. I got a second monitor for my birthday. My dad was very kind. Even though he helped get me the Porphyrion with my wife, he decided he wanted to get me a second monitor. So that's actually what I'm using on the desk with me right now to kind of keep an eye on everything, which is really nice. And it's right next to my gaming setup, which is also really, really nice. There's a chance, I don't know, I have a feeling that like if I have my spray booth for airbrushing in here with the computer, it would be a problem. But yeah, it may end up happening because I think it'd be dope to just... The whole reason I started doing these streams in the first place was because I love the idea. Like, I used to love going to game stores and building and painting models and hanging out with people, and we just talk about whatever about the hobby that we really, really liked, and people would show off their models and everything, which is just awesome. And that's kind of the vibe I'm going for, because I got to keep an eye on the stuff here at the house. I don't have that same liberty as I used to. And so this is the same kind of vibe where people can just get together, hang out, build models together, and just kind of shoot the shit in the chat occasionally, which has been fun, I have to admit. Gotta get this down in there. And this super glue really just soaks into this corkboard and changes it quite a bit. You know, I never did ask you, Final. When you're building models and everything, do you have a primary army that you particularly like? I mean, I know you've been doing a lot of like Ultramarine stuff, which I can forgive you for. Okay, I have to admit they have some really good characters. Okay, despite the fact that Games Workshop seems to hate every other chapter of Space Marine, but you got what? Is that your main army, or what about AOS? Do you do any AOS stuff? I mean, obviously you've got some of the minis of the month and all, but this just isn't eating into it as much as I needed it to. All right. I didn't want to have to do this. I wanted to use the filing bit. I'm going to have to use the big one. Ultramarines, although I think Custodies are catching up. I have to admit, listen, despite whether it's justified or not in the minds of anybody else, the cock up with the lore with the Custodies and the trying to do the retcon, those models are really nice. Like, you have to admit, like, all the Custodies models just look good. Clearly the Emperor had some stylists with him when they were designing some of their stuff, because they got the drip. AOS is just a backlog. I've got some Cities of Sigmar, Slaves to Darkness, and Skaven sitting there. Brother man, AOS is very interesting to me. I need to finish my carriage runs. I've made actually quite a bit of progress on them, and if you recall, the very first reel I ever made, well, technically not the very first reel I ever made, but the very first reel that started the hobby journey, because the first reel I ever made was actually my second video, the one I made for you with my carriage and overlords with their Archanaut frigate. I have to say, like, AOS, I had a lot of issues with AOS when it first launched, and it had nothing to do with the game. I was just angry and bitter over what happened to Warhammer Fantasy because of it. And I have to admit, now that they've kind of brought it back with the old world, I've given AOS a second chance. And I have to admit, it's cool. It's very cool. I love me dwarves. I don't know if that's a secret at this point. Dwarves are my favorite fantasy race, no matter what. So I really like the carriage and overlords. I wish though I liked the dwarves as much as I did in Warhammer Fantasy though. I have to admit, I love Warhammer Fantasy dwarves. They are my favorite iteration of dwarves in the world. And anybody who thinks that they're dorks, I'm sorry, you're just wrong. I'm actually working on a couple of... I mean, I keep saying projects. It's actually all part of Spruta Saga's big project of, creating a bunch of homebrew factions and everything. When Josh came to me with this idea, I thought it was awesome. It all stemmed from an escalation league we're doing with our wives and our other friend Edward. We are making custom homebrews for AOS. I've got my Sky Pirate carriage and overlords. JD Josh is working with his Stormcasts, which are looking really, really nice. He's doing his Maggotkin stuff. I don't know if anyone's excited or not for Spruta Saga's next video. Let me tell you right now, I've heard the script for his Maggotkin. You're in for a treat. It looks really, really good. He was doing some filming earlier today. He actually rejected my phone call, which hurt my feelings, I have to admit. I was a little sad. But he was recording video for his upcoming video. And I have to tell you, if you like the Maggotkin and Nurgle, you're in for a treat in his next video because it looks really good. Just from the script alone, I think you're in for something special. So keep your eyes peeled. He's working on it very hard, very diligently, and it's going to be something to behold, in my opinion. You're going to get pumped up, and I've never been a huge Chaos fan, and I have to admit, I'm becoming a fan of the Maggotkin, at least his Maggotkin. They're really good. I actually got to finish helping my wife work on her Ideneth Deepkin. We're going to get back to building some models soon. We're going to go to a restaurant here in Yukon, a local place called Local, spelled with a K because we're cute like that apparently. And then I'm going to take her to a local game store here in Yukon, Oklahoma, and we're going to work on her Ideneth together. We're building her Sea Elf army, which is very interesting. I'm mixed. I'm excited for the video, but I'm worried that if it's too good, I want to buy some Maggotkin. My brother in Christ, let me tell you right now. When he told me the tagline for his teaser trailer, where they say they used to fly with grace and they still fly, and he dropped that teaser, I was like, God damn it. I'm a fan, and I already know what you're working on in the background. How could you do that to me? It looks really good. He's working on some kit bash stuff for his Nurglekin. He's already picked out a really nice color scheme he's going to do for them. And let me tell you, it's not just the stereotypical like Maggotkin green. He's going a completely different angle with them, and I got to tell you, they're going to be nice if they come out as good as he's envisioning. Let me tell you, they're going to be really good. Final theoretically, if you wanted to come up with a custom homebrew faction for AOS, and you wanted to throw it at him, he might put him in a video, and he might make a couple of models for you. Just saying. This is actually coming along really well. Shaving down the edges, it's looking less like layers of cork at this point. It's actually starting to look like a rock. I just got to keep going a little bit. Thinking face emoji. I can't find it. Listen, brother, I get you. I understand. So I'm actually working on multiple for him. Not like in terms of models, just lore stuff, because that's my jam, my bread and butter, if you will. And I love dwarves, and I hate the fact that there's no traditional dwarves in lore for AOS. It's just Caradrins and Fyreslayers. Now, I like the Fyreslayers a little bit. I think the model-wise, I don't know why we're half naked. But they are the dwarfiest looking dwarves for me. I love the Caradrins because they're steampunk, and who doesn't like ships? I love ships. Like, it's often joked that, there are train autistic people, but I'm all about sailboats. Like, legitimately. I know the difference between, you've got brigantine schooners, galleons, man-o'-wars, you've got square-rigged, gaff-rigged. Like, I love ships. I think they're cool. And I love pirates, so I was like, I'm going to do Sky Pirates. But I love traditional dwarves, and one of the things I was upset by is they have traditional dwarves in the lore. They're called the Dispossessed, but they're kind of just absorbed by the Cities of Sigmar. And before they re-released the Old World, the Cities of Sigmar had dwarven models for the Cities of Sigmar. But now, because the Old World is out and GW hates me, you can't buy models for them. And they're most likely never going to put models for them. So I was like, it'd be sick. What if I took the Old World models for the dwarves, made my own custom City of Sigmar that's just an ancient dwarven hold that survived from the Age of Myth, albeit barely, and they're just standard dwarves, but I use them as proxies for Cities of Sigmar. And then I can magnetize the bases so I can swap them out, and I can run them for the Old World or Age of Sigmar if I wanted to. So I've got that. I'm working on a homebrew Fire Slayers, which is basically just the Slayers from Warhammer the Old World. And I got my Caradrids. And then, of course, the fucking... Oh, sorry. The Chaos Dwarves come out. And I'm like, well, I mean, I've got to stick with my theme at this point. I'm the dwarf guy. So my Chaos faction's going to be Chaos Dwarves for his little mini-verse he's putting together. I might be a little typecasted, if I'm going to be honest with you. Okay, looking good. Hey, Luke. How you doing, brother, man? Good to see you. Doing all right, man. Doing all right. I'm actually working on getting... Well, I'm making a mess, actually, is what I'm really doing. I'm building a rock for the Knight Defender base so I can finally knock out those feet that I was holding off on. So, I took some corkboard. I glued it together. I've got about 5 layers here, and I'm currently just sanding down the layers and blending it together. I've got this really nice rock shape coming together. I'm just trying to smooth out those edges, make it less obvious, and I might go over it with some Milliput and some texture paint later. But so far, looking pretty good, I think. Also, say hi to Final Gaming in the chat. I got two OGs. I'm so excited. It's actually really dope. By the way, new setup. It's kind of hard to tell. I've got the camera zoomed way in. I actually built a whole table here and set all my stuff from my computer desk and moved it over here. Rearranged the whole gaming room so I can have my desk set up for streaming. It hasn't come in just yet, but I'm getting a webcam and a stand for the webcam, so I don't have to just use my phone. And well, it's not a gooseneck, but it's basically a boom mic rig for a Kindle. And my wife's not overly happy that I'm using it, but she doesn't use it very much, so I get to get away with it. All right. Nice. Thank you, Luke. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited. I was telling Final earlier, and anyone else who was watching, the main reason I'm doing this is I miss going to game stores all the time and building and hanging out with people there. And I loved hanging out with people and talking about the hobby that we all love and painting and just chilling and checking out models and such. And while I can't go to game stores as much as I like now, because, I got to keep an eye on the house and the animals, and we got a puppy, and my wife's not, health-wise, isn't doing the best. I just get that same kind of vibe of going to a game store and hanging out with people, but doing it here on stream and in chat. You know, one of the goals with my channel I wanted to do was build a community, and I think the easiest way to do that is to do something like this. What I need to do is get off my lazy butt and finish working on the script for my video, but I've tried to force myself to write and it doesn't work out so well, so I just gotta wait till inspiration hits me. But alright, Final. You've been here since I started building this thing. What do you think? Obviously, you can still see a little bit of the layering, but I'm going to go through with a little milliput or some texture paint and thin that out. But I think compared to where I started, I mean, this is looking pretty good as a rock. Less fire is also good. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Bob Smith Industries is a really good super glue. It comes highly recommended for Forge World building, which is why I got it. Was not expecting this to catch on fire or burn my thumb, which, I mean, still kind of tingles a little bit, but I think that's mostly the super glue stuck to my thumb at this point. All right, well, it's time to put something through the ringer. Really? I'm actually at a Warhammer store right now waiting for my opponent to get back from the bathroom, so I decided to watch your stream for a few minutes before he got back. That is awesome. What you playing right now, Luke? I don't know. What army do you play, Luke? I don't actually know. Or if you did tell me and I'm just dumb, let me know that, because I am also just dumb. It's fine. I'm playing Imperial Knights, and I hadn't finished my Knights Army yet. You know what? I get you. I get you. It's actually, like, I'm super stoked. One of the things I was hoping to tackle today, besides finishing my Defender, is really just tackling basings for them. Because now I've got my Defenders almost done. Almost. I need a rock for my Preceptor, which I'm very excited to get done. And I also need to get a base done for my Knight Errant. And what I want to do today as well is I'm going to drill a hole in the foot and put a plastic rod in it so I can have it be... Oh, I can't really show you on the camera like that. Oops. Since the only point of contact is this toe, have a rod come out through the bottom of the foot and attach to the base, which I'm very excited for. So, let me get my vacuum. I'm going to need to vacuum all this cork dust up. Oh no, some of the cork dust is too fine and it's coming out the air filter. Jesus. Well, that happened. Well. Jesus. Thanks. I appreciate it. I didn't realize the air filter was too coarse for that. Oh, damn. That got me good. Oh, man. My nose is all ready. Listen. Jeez. Sorry about that. I said I was autistic. I didn't say I was smart. And I just turned on my Bluetooth speaker. Well, there we go. That's looking good. I think all that's left now for the base is, I'm going to have the foot of the knight kind of balanced on this rock here. Let me get the base and hold it there. Yeah, that'll be good. I just have to figure out the orientation for the rock. And then I can have the toes kind of wrapping around the tip of that rock there. I think that'll look really good. If I can do that, then all I need is to make a rock for my Preceptor, and lesson learned on cork dust from that. And then, yeah, then it's my Knight Errant. There's a legit chance I may have to get to my Castigator today, which means I have to tear up some Necron models, which will be dope. I'm going to have to cut the Death Scythe Doom Scythe, Death Scythe. I think it's Death Scythe. I'm going to have to cut a Death Scythe in half today, which will be exciting. I'm going to go put that in the trash can. Somewhere where I can safely dump that. Oh, shoot, he's back. I'll have to pop in and stay longer for your next stream, but I hope you have a very nice stream, and hopefully I'll see you next time. You know what, Luke? Thank you so much. I hope you have a nice game. I wish you best of luck. Please beat your opponent, but most importantly, have fun. And I will be streaming tomorrow, so I can catch you later, brother. That is awesome. Imperial Fists. I like the Fists. Sons of Dorn are okay in my book. Now that pussy called the Lion. I'm cutting up a Doom Scythe. Okay, alright. Hear me out. Hear the vision here. I'm going to get the box. Okay. So, I have 30 gauge copper wire. I'm going to have to adjust this real fast. So, that's kind of about right. Okay. So, I've got a Death Scythe with that I'm going to be cutting up, or Doom Scythe. And I've got the Castigator with his power sword. So my thinking is I'm going to have the Doom Scythe cut in half, like from the cockpit in, and it's going to be in rubble on the base of the Castigator. And I'm going to have the 30 gauge copper wire acting like electrical arcs coming off of the sword, striking the Death Scythe as like the Castigator stepping on top of it. Almost like Captain Morgan style. And I'm going to have it glowing with, because I got white oil paint, mineral spirits, and white ink. So I'm going to use my airbrush. I'm going to have the edges glowing like it just got cut in half by the power sword. So I'm going to have like the scythe crashing into the ground, a bunch of rubble and texture paint around the edges, and having it look like the Castigator cut it in half with the blade down and shocking it. And I'm going to get some 3D... Wow, voice crack. I'm going to get some 3D prints. I'm going to get some 3D prints of the Vulcan here where like it's shooting, so like it's stepping over the Doom Scythe that it cut in half. I think it'll look sick. I'm very excited. I have no basis for this in my homebrew, though, so I'm kind of the opinion, like, well, it'll look cool, and that's pretty much as far as I've gotten. But I am super excited to do that. I think it'll look sick. Josh, a few years ago, for Christmas, gave me a bunch of Necrons as a thank you, because I was going to be building a Necron dynasty at some point, because I had bought him... I think that was when I bought him Magnus the Red. So I had gotten him Mortarion, Magnus the Red, and Angron up to that point. That sounds pretty awesome. I'm so excited. A little bit more dust, but not much. And he wanted to get me something as a thank you, but he couldn't afford to buy me any gifts. So he gave me a combat patrol of Necrons he got from about 2 or 3 years prior, and gave it to me because he had no interest in the Necrons. He just bought them on a whim, and he knew I liked Necrons. And I still love Necrons. I think they're dope. I'd love to build my own Necron dynasty, but the idea is the entire dynasty is succumbing to the Flayer virus. So I have like my own kit-bashed Flayer Silent King or things of that nature. I think that would be just sick. Okay. So. Okay. If I have the defender station like that. Alright. First things first. If I'm going to do that to fix the toes, I have to see how loose. It's not very loose. This is going to be a problem, I think. Yeah, that was a problem. That did not snap off the way I wanted it to. But it kind of slots back in place exactly how I need it to, so that's all that matters. Haha! Okay. Thought I was throwing things on the floor. It turns out I was, in fact, throwing things on the floor. This is a very professional operation I have going here. So, let me readjust that camera here. Kind of. It's pretty level. Yeah, okay. That'll work. Yeah, I am very excited to work with that stuff. I have some ideas on how to use that 30 gauge copper wire for lightning arc effects for both my Preceptor and my Castigator. I'd like to do that also. That would be sick if I had electrical arcs coming off of the Void Shield generator, and then I could paint the electrical arcs like a light purple over a bright white base coat and give it that kind of glowing purple OSL. Because I don't know. I always thought of like Void Shields as faintly purple in color. You can blame Destiny for that if we need to blame somebody. But I think that would look sick. That would look good for the Defender, I think. The problem is I'd only have to have electrical arcs on the Void Shield generator. So it would just be arcing on the generator itself because I'm going to magnetize. No, I probably shouldn't do that. I probably shouldn't do the electrical arcs because I do want to magnetize that. Okay. Cat, can you not play with the bottom of the stand, please? Sweet Jesus. Sorry. I really don't know if I'm wasting my time with the mold lines on this part or not. But I feel like it's good practice to stay in with removing mold lines, period. So I'm going to do what I can. Okay. That's pretty good. I need to glue that down in just a second. I love removing mold lines that get covered up 2 steps later. You're not wrong. Okay, seriously? If you step on the mic stand or the camera stand one more fucking time, do not get on that box. No. Go away. Sorry. Wife's cat is, I say wife's cat. Excuse me. It's my cat now. We are married. He's just being a lot right now. I moved his cat tree to set this whole thing up, and he doesn't like where it's set up now, so I might have to move it back later. I'm going to be honest, yeah, 2 steps later, yeah, because here's the thing. These mold lines are going to probably be covered up by that shin armor anyway, so I feel like I'm doing a superfluous step. But on the off chance that the mold lines come up, I'm going to be honest, I'd rather them be gone than not. It only takes a few extra seconds. And if you're not too forceful with it, you won't dig into the plastic like I just did. You know, get your own webcam, your own microphone set up, and stream subpar, and you too could be mediocre at building models. Just like me. Okay. There we go. These sprue gates on parts like this annoy the crap out of me. Because you got this rectangle bit here on a rounded edge that you need to be careful not to cut into. But you have to be careful about not cutting into the model too much because it's a rounded edge. And the only way I know how to do that is to scrape my knife towards the rectangular edge, which I'm going to inevitably dig into. So it's like a lose-lose situation for me. I'm going to have to yell at the dog. Han! Han! Leave the cat alone. And Trip, leave the dog alone. Hey! Hey! What did I just say? Both of you. Just looked at me, dejected. Okay. Got that done. Okay, get that in there. Get that there. Now, I find the easiest way to glue these pistons down is to just hold it together, barely tap the cracks, and then come back underneath the ball and paint the ball. I'm sure everyone's like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. That's the smartest way to do it. Why are you saying that out loud? Because you don't want to know how long it took me to figure that out. Like I said, I'm autistic. I may not be intelligent. Okay, glue that there. Glue that there. And then lastly, glue that there. Perfect. Okay, let's glue the foot on. No, let's not glue the foot on. Let's go ahead and glue the shin back on because the shin armor needs to be there. Now, because the piece is broke in such a fucking awkward way, I'll have to dab, dab, dab. I didn't think about that. It looks like I got it lined up pretty much right on the money. It is hard to tell now that I've put the foot in place and can't see where the connection is because I forgot the foot was going to be in place. Okay. I'll just... Does anyone else ever, like, ruin their brain with memes? Because I'm not going to lie to you, every time I go to dab my lid into the Tamiya, because I always tap the glass with the brush to get the excess off, but every time I go to tap it back in there, I just go dip, 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 just like Peter Griffin. And it bothers me, because Family Guy used to be funny. And I feel like that's lowbrow humor. I don't know if anyone else is with me on that or not, so... Yes, good. At least I'm not alone. Every time. All right. Okay, so I'll let that dry. Yeah, that's not that bad. I can... Huh. I'll have to do the front and the back toe, I think, a little bit. Huh. Here. Just kind of get an idea. It's a top-down view, so I apologize. It's not going to be the best view to kind of show what I'm talking about. But, based on where the feet stand on the base, with the rock right here, I mean, it, depending on the orientation of the rock, it actually... naturally already kind of falls into place where it needs to for the It's perfect. Well, kind of perfect. The rock's hanging off the base. Huh. Okay. Kind of fiddling around with that. I can stop doing that now. What I do need to do to finally finish this up with the legs is get the knee pads on. Now, trim that down just a little bit. There we go. Almost done with these sprue gates. And last one. Okay. I don't remember the orientation for these, unfortunately, but I think it's this way. And I think that's right. Okay. Got that knee pad there. All right, I need to borrow my camera for just a minute here. So let's turn that off for just a second, and I'll be right back, everybody. Okay. Well, unfortunately, I will have to call it here just for the time being. Sorry I won't be able to do too much more, but my wife's about to be home, and I need to help her with some stuff. So, unfortunately, I'll have to end it here final. But I had a blast. I will be doing this again tomorrow, and I'll be starting earlier tomorrow because I had to have lunch with my granddad today. So, but again, I want to say, as always, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, please feel free to leave me a like. It does greatly help my channel out quite a bit. If you didn't like what you saw, I greatly appreciate you for watching as far as you have. And I hope everyone has a wonderful day. And remember, have a good time and have fun out there. Bye-bye.